Here's how I went from zero to fluent Dutch in just 6 months. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Precious, PhD student, and in 2016, my family moved from Nigeria to Belgium, and suddenly I had to learn Dutch, a language that I had never heard of, never even considered, and I definitely did not plan on learning up until that moment. But yeah, I had to learn Dutch. And to be honest with you, it was a very overwhelming time. Learning a new language is difficult, right? It's a difficult process, and it's not something to be underestimated in any way. But I do feel that there were a number of tips and tricks and things that really helped me crush my Dutch learning process. And I'm here to share those tips and tricks with you guys. And not only have I learned Dutch, I have since gone on to gain a high school degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree, all in Dutch. So I think I know my stuff when it comes to learning a new language. Let's dive in. So before we dive into the tips and the tricks that helped me, something I want you to understand, I guess, is that you will improve. I know it seems impossible at first when you're first starting to learn a new language. It can seem like something that would never happen, but you will improve. And all you need to do is to be patient with yourself, keep working at it, and give yourself some grace. And to prove it to you, I have proof. I have proof. To prove it to you, this is a video. So I'm going to play a video, and this is the first video, well, not the first video, but like a video from when I first started learning Dutch. I think it's like 7 months into my Dutch learning process journey, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to play the video.
Hey mensen! Ben je ook zo verzot op films of doek? Hou je ervan een heerlijk avondje te hebben met je vrienden? Dan hebben wij, de gekniepte activiteit voor jou.
Did you hear that? Even if, yeah, okay, if you don't speak Dutch, then maybe it doesn't sound funny to you, but it's kind of a funny accent because I don't speak Dutch like this anymore. First of all, shout out to the people who never laughed at me for speaking Dutch like this in the first few months that I was learning Dutch. Shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing. And now this is a video from my master's graduation when I delivered the graduation speech. This is the second video I'm going to play. It's actually on my Instagram. Just going to go through it real quick. This is the second video.
Professoren, docenten, medestudenten, vrienden en familie, dames en heren. Het is een eer en een voorrecht om vandaag voor jullie te mogen staan als pas
I'm just going to stop it there. Even if you don't speak Dutch, you can hear that there is a clear difference between the first and the second video, right? The intonation is different, the pronunciation of the words are different, even the confidence level is different in the two videos or between the two videos. And this is just to prove to you that improvement is possible and that you will definitely improve if you keep working at it and if you're just generally very patient with yourself. That's all you need. Some patience and some, level of giving yourself grace, you will improve. I promise you. I guarantee you 100%. Okay, so I know some of you are thinking, well, great, but how did you actually learn Dutch? Let me break it down for you. Beyond the boring stuff like the grammar and the sentences, but don't get me wrong, the grammar, these things are super important and you do need to, invest time in studying them. But these are some things that really helped me speed up my own learning process and made the overall Dutch learning experience more fun for me. And trust me, I think the last tip that I share is really what made all the difference for me. So one of the first things I did was that I immersed myself in the things that I already loved, but then in Dutch, right? So I really like rap music. And so what I did was that I looked for rappers who rapped in Dutch. And I would listen to rappers like Boef and Zwangerigi. And I don't think I necessarily learned any proper Dutch language skills from that. But what it helped me with was like my intonation, how to sound more natural. It helped me with my listening skills, with more informal Dutch expressions, if you know what I mean. Another thing I did was that I would also listen to or watch Dutch speaking YouTubers on YouTube. And for instance, I spent a lot of time on Dylan Hagen's channel. I think I watched all of his videos at some point. I was obsessed with it. And again, I didn't learn any proper Dutch expressions or language skills from that. But again, it helped with listening, it helped with intonation, sounding more natural and formal expressions and things like that. Another thing that really helped me was setting a personal goal, a big one. For me, this was reading a book. I remember like a few months, I think 1, 2 months into learning Dutch, my Dutch language teacher took my class to a secondhand bookstore and she asked us to pick out any books that we wanted to read. And I remember going for this very complex Dutch book, and she was like, "Oh my God, maybe just pick something that's going to be a bit easier for you to read." And I was like, don't worry, I'll get there. I'll read it when the time comes." And I did read that book like a year or so down the line. And I remember feeling very proud of myself, like, "Oh my God, I did that. I did that." So that could also help, set some personal goal for yourself as well. That could really, really help with, helping you stay on track and motivated as you learn this new language. If you've been finding these tips helpful so far, like the video. Thank you so much. Moving on. So let's be real. Learning a new language is awkward, and you're going to need to embrace the awkwardness, especially if you're somebody like me who is like just awkward like in their everyday life. I can't tell you how many embarrassing moments that I had just because I couldn't express myself, you know, properly, or I was using the wrong expressions in the right context. So an example is um, there was one summer I was looking for a job. I was looking for a student job, and I was sending all these mails to these interim companies, right? I don't know what the English translation is. I don't know if they're called interim companies, but they're these companies that are in between the person seeking for a job and the companies, and they help you find jobs, right? That are, best for you. And so at that point, I had just learned the phrase "gelieve te antwoorden." Now, "gelieve te antwoorden," if you translate it using Google Translate or DeepL or whatever, it means please respond, or something like "I'm waiting on your response. So I thought that's what it meant. and and so when I would send these mails to these companies asking for a job, I would end the mails with "gelieve te antwoorden." And I never understood why I never got a response from these companies. I was like, why is nobody responding to my mails? Like I craft these mails very, very carefully, and I thought that, these were good mails. I should get a response. I never got a response. And then I think a year or so down the line, I realized what "gelieve te antwoorden" was. And although, when you translate it literally, it means please respond or something like that. Uh, People don't use that expression, in the kind of mails that I was sending. You get a "gelieve te antwoorden" from a debt collector or from the government when you owe them money. So it's a very like authoritative, hierarchical expression, and you don't use that when you're looking for a job, right? so so like a year or so down the line, I finally understood why no one was responding to me. So I guess the awkwardness is part of the process, and you just need to embrace the fact that you're going to be embarrassed and feel embarrassment at many different points, and you just have to embrace that. I've been speaking Dutch now for 8 years, and there are a lot of expressions that I still don't understand and I still don't know how to use. And even when people use them with me, I still don't know what they're talking about. I still have embarrassing moments, and it's okay. It's totally fine. The best way to learn a new language is to speak it. That's the only way. I'm so sorry to bust your bubble if you're thinking that there are any other ways around this. You have to speak the language. I remember when I moved to Belgium, I had to do 2 years of high school, so the 2 last years of high school again. So what happened was I already had a high school degree from Nigeria, right? I had done WAEC and all these things, and I had a high school degree from Nigeria. But then when I moved to Belgium, they did this translation process, and they came to the conclusion that a Nigerian high school degree is only equal to the fourth year in Belgium. So the conclusion was, well, okay, I had to do the 5th and the 6th year again, which is equivalent to like SS1, SS2, and SS3 in Nigeria. I had to do that again in Belgium. And let me tell you, I felt like my life was over. I felt so devastated by this new reality. I felt really bad, and this was also because I was comparing myself to my friends in Nigeria who I went to high school with, and they were all in their first or second year at uni, and I was like, oh my god, I have to go back and do 2 years again. Like, what do you mean? But now I feel like that was a blessing in disguise. Like looking back, I realized that really helped me speak Dutch. It I was thrusted in this situation where I had no other option. I had to speak Dutch if I wanted to make friends, if I wanted to pass my exams, things like that. So that really helped me and forced me to speak Dutch, and that is why it really helped me speed up my Dutch learning process as well. So I guess if you're learning a new language, you want to speak that language. Don't be afraid to, approach people and ask them to speak it with you. If you have friends who speak the language that you're learning, force them, beg them to speak it with you. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is the most important step, I guess, in learning a new language, is being able to speak it, because when you speak the language, you are essentially applying all of these grammar rules and these things that you're learning or you've learned, and that helps you retain that information even better than just knowing it on paper. All right, so these are some of the tips that really helped me master Dutch in 6 months. I hope that this gave you some ideas for your own language learning journey. And I guess what you need to remember is that you need to be patient with yourself, because you definitely will improve, and you just need to give yourself some grace. You need to push through those awkward moments and just see it as one of those things. Life is awkward. Get over it. You need to push through the awkward moments, and you need to try to speak the language that you're learning as much as you can. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has been, please like the video, consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!